Welcome back to the GENS Publications Virtual Book Tour 2026. Now it's presented in partnership with Activate Core. It is my absolute honor and pleasure to introduce someone who needs very little introduction. She is a multi-award-winning author, entrepreneur, and publisher. She is the founder of the Grace Gallery and GENS Publication. She is a passionate advocate for family, faith, and a global entrepreneur. She writes across genres from Christian faith literature to multicultural children's books. She empowers readers of all ages to dream boldly and live purposefully and walk confidently in their God-given identity. And on a personal note, she is also the woman who made sure that our son Lyell's stories became real books that the world could read and enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my wife, my partner, best friend, and one of the most driven women I know, Resh Jegels. So, Resh, how does it feel to be on this side of the interview chair for once?
Honestly, a little uncomfortable. I'm so used to being the one asking the questions. This time it feels like I'm very unprepared.
In which way?
In the way that I'm not really comfortable with being put on the spot. But I suppose if I want to set an example or lead by example, I've got to be the first one to go. So all the other authors after me are comfortable.
Okay. Now, you've been hosting and interviewing everyone else on this tour. My question to you, was it your plan all along to put yourself into the hot seat?
Absolutely not. But someone very wise once said that you can't lead from behind. So here I am. And who better than to have one man who knows me and who can ask questions with no filter.
And you can get that from your husband, eh? Now, you wear so many hats as an author, publisher, entrepreneur, founder. Which one makes you feels most natural to you, and why?
Honestly, storyteller. Everything I do is rooted in story. Whether I'm writing a book, building a brand, or helping another author publish their work, at the heart of it, I'm always asking, what story needs to be told and who needs to hear it?
Okay. So, when did you first know that writing was part of your calling?
I think I always knew. I just didn't have the courage to call it a calling for a very long time. Writing felt too personal and too vulnerable. But when I realized that the stories inside of me weren't just for me, that they were meant to reach someone else, heal someone else, inspire someone else, that's when I stopped treating it as a hobby and started treating it as a purpose.
Okay. Now, I want to know, your books span such different genres, okay? Christian faith, multicultural children's books, entrepreneurship. How do you hold all of those worlds together under one voice?
They're not as different as they seem. At the core of every single thing I write and every brand I build is one message. You were created on purpose, for a purpose. So whether I'm writing a children's book or a faith devotional or building a business, I'm always saying the same thing. Dream boldly, live purposely, and walk confidently in who God made you to be.
That's very good. Now, which of your books was the hardest to write and why?
Every book has its hard moments, and the ones closest to my faith journey require the most courage. When you write from a place of personal experience and deep conviction, you're not just putting words on a page, you're putting your heart on a page. And that is always a little terrifying.
Okay. Which book or books are you most proud of, and what makes it so special to you?
That's like asking me to pick a favorite child. But if I'm honest, the children's books hold a very special place in my heart. Knowing that a little one is reading a story that looks just like them, sounds like them, and tells them that they're seen and that they're valued, that moves me deeply every single time.
Now, GENS Publications, tell us, how did it start and what is the vision behind it?
GENS Publication was born out of a conviction that stories matter. All stories. Not just the ones that fit a certain mold or come from a certain background. I wanted to create a publishing home where authors, especially those who might not have had access to traditional publishing, could bring their stories to life with excellence and dignity. GENS stands for Global Entrepreneurs Networking Showcase, because everything we do is about connecting people, stories, and purpose across the globe.
Wow. Okay, that's very interesting. But that's not the only hat that you wear. One of the other hats that you wear is the Grace Gallery. Now, it's such a beautiful brand. What does it represent to you personally?
The Grace Gallery is my heart in brand form. Grace because everything I have, everything I've built, and every story I've told is by the grace of God, not by my own strength or cleverness. Gallery is a space where I curate beauty, purpose, and meaning, whether that's through books, skincare, jewelry, gifts, or publishing service. It's all an expression of grace.
Oh, wow. That's a great answer. You've now helped other authors publish their work, including your son, our son, Lyle. What drives you to invest in other people's stories?
Because I know what it feels like to have a story inside you that you're not sure the world wants to hear. And I know the transformation that happens when someone says, your story matters. Let's tell it together. That's what I want it to be for every author who comes through GENS Publication.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm definitely working on something that will work together. So I'm sure, I'll experience that firsthand. But now, what has been the most rewarding moment in your publishing journey so far?
Holding Lyall's book in my hand for the first time.
Oh.
He was just 6 years old. He wrote those stories by himself, and seeing his face when he held his published book. That moment reminded me exactly why I do what I do. No award, no sales figure, no milestone will ever stop that.
Top that, you mean?
Yeah, top that.
I beg to differ. Now, this virtual book tour is a big deal. Whose idea was it and how did it come together?
It started as a dream, as most things do. I wanted to create a platform that celebrated our authors in a way that was bigger than a social media post, a real event, a real stage, a place where stories, their stories, could be heard by people across the globe. And when Activate Core came on board as our partner, it became real.
Wow. Now, you've brought together authors from different countries, different ages, different genres. What was the vision behind that diversity?
Life is diverse. Readers are diverse. Stories should be diverse. From Jennifer Williams in Jamaica at 70, sharing decades of faith and wisdom, to Lyall at 6 years old with his wild and wonderful imagination. Every voice on this tour represents someone in our own audience who needs to hear the exact same story. That's the vision.
Wow. That's an amazing vision. Wow, I can't wait to see that become realization. Now, what do you hope authors like Jennifer Williams and other and readers around the world take away from this tour?
For the authors, I hope they feel seen, celebrated, and inspired to keep writing. For the readers, I hope that they find a book on this tour that changes something in them, that makes them laugh or cry or pray or dream bigger. That's what books do. That's why we do this.
Now, what has surprised you about organizing this tour?
How much heart people bring to it. Every author I've spoken to has shared their story with such openness and courage. Jennifer, Lael, Pastor Johan, all of them have trusted me with something precious. That responsibility doesn't escape me. And it makes me want to do this with absolute excellence.
How has your faith shaped your journey as an author and an entrepreneur?
Faith is not a part of my journey. It is my journey. Every decision I've made, every brand I've built, every book I've written, I've done it in conversation with God. Sometimes He says go, sometimes He says wait, and sometimes He says trust me. This is bigger than you think. And it always is.
Wow. You write about walking confidently in your God-given identity. Has there ever been a moment where you doubted yours?
Absolutely. I think anyone who says they've never doubted themselves is either lying or hasn't tried anything hard enough yet. There have been moments where I wondered if it was enough, if my voice mattered, if the dream was too big. But God has a way of sending the right person, the right word, and the right moment right when you need it the most. And you keep going.
Well, sheesh, that's really good. What does it mean to you to build a business and a brand that is rooted in kingdom values?
It means profit is never the only measure of success. It means how you treat people matter as much as what you produce. It means excellence, integrity, generosity, and purpose are non-negotiable, even when no one is watching. Kingdom business is about building something that outlasts you, something that carries God's fingerprints.
Now, what scripture or faith principle keeps you grounded when things get hard?
Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding.
Oh, yeah.
In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. That verse has carried me through every season, the highs, the lows, the uncertainty, and the breakthroughs. I come back to it again and again.
What has it been like building all of this while being a wife and a mom?
Chaotic, beautiful, exhausting, and completely worth it. I won't pretend it's always easy. There are days where I'm pulled in every direction at once. But I have an incredible partner in Craig, who believes in this vision as much as I do. And watching Lael grow up, seeing his mom building something from faith and hard work, that's the greatest lesson I could ever teach him.
Now, that's really good. Thanks. Wow. Lael wrote his own stories at 6 years old. As his mom, what did that moment mean to you?
I cried! I'm not ashamed to say it. I cried. Because here was this little boy, my little boy, our little boy, with this extraordinary imagination and gift for storytelling. And I thought, this is what it's all about. This is why I built what I built. so that his story could have a home too.
What do you want Lyle to learn from this? Watching you build the Grace Gallery and GENS Publications.
That purpose is worth pursuing, even if it's hard. That faith and work go hand in hand. That you don't have to wait until you're ready or qualified or old enough. He proved that himself at 6 years old. I want him to know that the dreams God puts in your heart are always bigger than your own fears.
That is so true. Yeah, your fears can turn into monsters. We know this. Okay, so what does a typical day look like for Resh Jegels?
Typical. What's that?
No, you can't eat it.
Every day looks different, and I've learned to love that about my life. But most days start with prayer and a moment of quiet before the world wakes up. Then it's emails, contents, products, authors, design, strategy, and somewhere in between all of that, being mom and wife. It's full.
Mm-hmm.
It's full in the best possible way.
I'm glad to be a part of it. What's next for you as an author? And are there any books in the pipeline?
Always. I have stories that are still forming, some in my heart, some in my notes, some that God hasn't fully revealed yet. But yes, there is more coming. Watch the space.
And where do you see GENS Publications and the Grace Gallery in 5 years' time?
I see authors from every continent finding a home with GENS Publication. I see the Grace Gallery as a recognized premium brand that stands for excellence, faith, and purpose. I see a publishing house that has changed lives, not just sold books. That's the vision, and I believe it fully.
That's really cool. What is the one dream that you haven't pursued yet that you know God is calling you towards?
I'll be honest. There are things stirring up in my spirit that I am not ready to name publicly yet. But I will say this. God has been speaking to me about scale and legacy in a way that excites me and terrifies me in equal measure. And if there's one thing I've learned, when God puts something in your heart that's bigger than you can manage alone, that's exactly when you know it's from Him. Stay tuned.
Okay, time for some fun. Rapid questions. Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Early bird, night owl?
Early bird.
Canva or Photoshop?
Canva.
Beach or city?
City.
Yes. One word to describe your writing journey.
Wow.
What's Craig's best quality?
I'll let him answer that.
What's Craig's most annoying habit?
I'll let him answer that.
Now, I've watched you pour your heart, your faith, your time, your talent into every single thing that you do. From the Grace Gallery to GENS Publications, from your own books to helping others tell their stories, including our sons. You are extraordinary, and I'm so proud of you. To everyone watching, please support this incredible woman and her work. At thegracegallery.shop, explore her books, her publishing services, as I know I will too, and everything she has poured her heart into. And thank you for joining us on the GENS Publication Virtual Book Tour 2026. We'll see you at the next stop. God bless you all.
Thank you, love.
Subscribe to RJ's Antics for loads more.